Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Today we're talking about one of the coolest anime characters of all time, Seto freaking Kaiba. Badass, genius, multi-talented. What more can I really say that hasn't already been said about this supremely gifted duelist? Well, except for him also being the best Yu-Gi-Oh character of all time. Hell, who am I kidding? That's been stated before too, probably thousands of times. And that's an accomplishment, especially when you consider the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise has been running over 20 years with 7 different anime and manga and 3 full-featured films. There are hundreds of amazing Yu-Gi-Oh characters, but in my opinion, one of them reigns supreme, just slightly ever so edging out Yugimoto and Pharaoh Tim, and that is Seto Kaiba. I'd also like to point out 2 very important things here. Number 1, this is just my opinion and I'm not trying to state this as fact. And number 2, there is absolutely no bias here. Kaiba is not my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character. That award goes to my Jume Thunder, aka Chaz from Yu-Gi-Oh GX. With that all out of the way, let me welcome you to the top 10 reasons why Seto Kaiba is the best Yu-Gi-Oh character of all time, the Yu-Gi-Oh hierarchy. Number 10, he owns the Duelist Academy from Yu-Gi-Oh GX. You know how Yu-Gi-Oh GX takes place on a giant remote island that's home to an academia that's sole purpose is to further the development of bright young duelists? Well, you might be shocked to know that Kaiba actually owns it. This means that not only is Seto responsible for children gaining higher education, but it also makes Kaiba a positive influence on the dueling world, as his overseeing of the academy directly ties him to many duelists achieving their lifelong dreams and making it to the Pro League, which Kaiba also owns, if you didn't guess that as well. The Pro League is a circle of the highest ranking duelists in the world and is home to many accomplished duelists such as Edo Phoenix, my Jume Thunder, Jack Atlas, Crow Hogan, Quattro, Aoi Zaizen, and even Zark himself. Even duelists not lucky enough to make it to the Pro League still receive valuable skills that they can use throughout life. Number 9, he's ruthless and a worldwide business mogul.
If the one responsible was in my employ, I'd have him fired.
Hey, I never said everything on this list was going to be positive, did I? Technically, it's positive for Kaiba, his brother, and for everyone who works for him. I mean, how can you not give it up for a guy who's a CEO of a billion-dollar corporation while still attending high school? Kaiba's ruthless side is also fairly indiscriminate. This man hospitalized Yugi's senior citizen grandpa without a second thought and did it over a fucking card at that.
And look at the sweet prize I won.
The crazy thing is, that doesn't even compare to the time that Seto was given 2% of Kaiba Corporation's stock value in cash as a loan and was told that he had to return that amount multiplied by 100 within a year. He in turn repaid that amount in a single day by buying 51% of a retirement home and forcing the owner to buy shares back at 5 times their value under the threat that Seto would fire him and the entire staff immediately.
我が社の株を5倍で買い戻せというのか。
そうでなければお前は会社をクビだ。多くの社員ともども。
なんと恐ろしいことを考える少年よ。
お前の金儲けの才能は幸三郎の想像をはるかに超えていた。
Cold-blooded. Number 8, he always travels in style.
I think this should cover it. Keep the change.
Get back here!
Being CEO of a billion-dollar company and one of the richest men in the world definitely has its perks, and this might be the biggest one, arguably. Yu-Gi-Oh is home to many wealthy duelists, but how many of them can say that they have a one-of-a-kind private jet designed in the image of their favorite monster card? Blue Eyes White Dragon jet, Kaiba Corp blimp, $500,000 Ferrari bought straight off the lot. When it comes to getting around the world, Seto definitely doesn't spare any expenses. He settles for nothing but the finest, and maybe you could argue that this is a generational thing because he's so young, but what you can't argue against is Seto Kaiba's swag levels being through the roof. Number 7, started from the bottom. Kaiba may be a billionaire who spends way too much time and money on electronic gadgets, but don't for a second confuse him with Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark. They may not have had their parents either, but at least those guys can say they grew up rich. Kaiba was raised in a pretty shitty orphanage where he spent most of his time having to fight off other kids who picked on his younger brother and learning how to play chess. And if you're wondering why didn't Kaiba's relatives simply take him and his younger brother in after their parents' death, well, they were a little too busy stealing all the money out of Kaiba's parents' will. So not only did he grow up poor, but the rest of his family was pretty crappy and unreliable. Rising to the top of the dueling and business world with this type of terrible start shows Kaiba's determination to succeed at life and makes him highly relatable. Keep in mind he achieved all this while being dragged down by his utterly useless and pathetic younger brother the entire time. Number 6, he was a child prodigy and is a super genius. I know I just kind of went on about how much Kaiba's childhood sucked because of his dead parents and on account of him being poor and everything, but on the bright side, when he was 12, he was adopted by a famous billionaire, but then that kind of started to suck too. It was fairly obvious even when Kaiba was young that he was highly intelligent. This was no more apparent than when he conned a grown-ass adult into adopting him in Mokuba after Seto beat him in a game of chess. That's right, one of the richest and most successful businessmen in the entire world was duped and beaten in a game of chess by a fucking 12-year-old.
もし俺がチェスであんたに勝ったらでいい。
面白い子だ。だがその条件では無理だ。わしの養子にはなれんぞ。わしが世界大会を連覇していることを知って言っているのだろうが、絶対にわしには勝てん。
As Kaiba got older, he just got smarter, creating the Duelist technology and even the worldwide Duel Links network, which links millions of duelists every single day. He also has a pilot's license and even hacked Pegasus's Duelist Kingdom's computer network like it was child's play.
Fine by me, Pegasus. Go ahead and give it your best shot. There isn't a computer system anywhere on Earth that I can't break into.
Number 5, he kicks ass, literally. Most Yu-Gi-Oh characters prefer to settle their conflicts with cards. This is perfectly acceptable because of the nature of the anime and manga, but it is fairly refreshing to have somebody who can not only duel their way out of a problem, but can also just kick somebody's ass if needed. Kaiba has proven time and time again to be a highly skilled hand-to-hand combat fighter, and he's even held his own against a grade 5 kendo expert who took control over Tristan's body.
剣道5段のわしの腕をなめるなよ。
Number 4, he's an excellent duelist. This one should have been obvious. For starters, it's revealed in the very first episode of the anime that he's currently the #1 ranked duelist in the world, but that's clearly not the extent of Kaiba's dueling prowess. During the Battle City tournament, to test the power of a new card, Kaiba challenged an experienced duelist while offering a briefcase full of some of the best cards in the entire game to make a deck with. Kaiba OTK'd that scrub with one single attack. Seto also has wins against the current king of games Yugioh, Joey Wheeler, who finished top 4 at both Duelist Kingdom and the Battle City tournaments.
Blue Eyes! Wipe out Joey's remaining life points!
Man, I lost again. But at least I held my own for a while, huh, Kaiba?
We were still on the first turn.
Oh.
And he even beat Ishizu Ishtar, who was a Millennium item holder with the power to predict the future. How do you even do that? Beat someone who can predict the future.
But this is what Destiny told me you would do. Destiny. I am Seto Kaiba. I make my own fate. And now I'm going to summon my Blue Eyes White Dragon to destroy your remaining life points. But why? Why would you do such a thing? Because a robot from the future told me to.
Even when faced with opponents who introduce different mechanics and rules into the duel, such as Agami in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions movie, Kaiba masters these new mechanics and rules as he did the Dimension Summon within a single turn. Number 3, he's got the makeup of an utter badass. Excellent fighter, even better duelist, supremely confident against any and all competition, even in the worst of situations. Kaiba simply is overflowing with coolness. This guy once had a loaded gun pointed square against his head and disarmed the would-be henchman with nothing more than a single trading card.
試してみるか。ならば死ね。
Add that to the fact that he's basically the first person on the show to put his life on the line in a duel completely of his own volition, by the way. Kaiba also completely outshined every single other character in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions movie, and he has sacrificed himself multiple times for the benefit of others. Lastly, he sets the highest standard for himself and his employees in every facet of life. That's not just badass, but it's commendable.
I have never settled for mediocrity as an acceptable standard, and neither should you.
Number 2, he routinely does the impossible. Despite all other accolades that I pointed out so far on this list, to me, this is where Kaiba really shines and my personal favorite. Like when he changed his fate and beat a duelist who could predict and see visions of the future, or the time he climbed up a cliff while holding a briefcase nonetheless.
Wait a minute, how the hell did I climb up the side of a cliff while holding a briefcase?
Not impressed yet? Don't worry, I've got more. There's a time he was involved in a motorcycle accident while not wearing a helmet and walked away without a single scratch on his face. And of course, that's not even mentioning my personal favorite, when he blocked a bullet with nothing more than his trusty business briefcase. Never leave home without it, kids. And finally, to our number 1. Seto Kaiba is an absolute jerk, and we love him for it.
Okay, let me make this very simple for all of you. You're losers. I don't mean that in an endearing way. It f***ing hurts me that I have to interact with all of you so much. Duke, you're a lecherous pervert with a failed game store. Congrats. Oh, Wheeler. The only reason anyone even acknowledges you is because your best friend is the king of games. Tristan, you are the single most worthless human being I've ever met.
Let's get one thing clear here. I do not mean jerk in some lovable, he's still got a heart of gold type of way, or even in some weird, delicious beef jerky type of way. Kaiba is a straight up asshole, and it is absolutely awesome. In a series chock full of stupid friendship speeches about the power of friendship, it's cool to have a guy who's basically the antithesis of that, but is still not considered a villain. Kaiba talks to people however he damn well pleases.
I concur. It was no contest.
Quiet, you sniveling sycophants.
And a lot of times that basically means talking down to them. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he sure as hell doesn't pull any punches, even when talking to his contemporaries. This might seem brash to many, but I find it refreshing, as personally, I don't think that there's anything better than someone who's comfortable in their own skin. So, you guys let me know what you thought of the list. If there were any other amazing Kaiba qualities that I did not include, please leave that in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications for daily videos.
Fire whoever designed that bottle. Kaiba Corp's products shouldn't bend that easily.
Yes, understood.